Finnegans Wake by James Joyce. Book 1, Chapter 8. Oh, tell me all about Anna Livia. I want to hear all about Anna Livia. Well, you know Anna Livia. Yes, of course, we all know Anna Livia. Tell me all, tell me now. You'll die when you hear. Well, you know, when the old chib went fut and did what you know. Yes, I know, go on. Wash quit and don't be dabbling. Tuck up your sleeves and loosen your talk tapes, and don't butt me hike when you bend. Or whatever it was they treed to make out he tried to do in the fiendish park. He's an awful old rip. Look at the shirt of him, look at the dirt of it. He has all my water black on me, and it's steeping and stooping since this time last wick. How many goes is it, I wonder, I washed it? I know by heart the places he likes to sow, the dirty devil. Scorching my hand and starving my famine to make his private linen public. Wallop it well with your battle and clean it. My wrists are rusty rubbing the mould all stains, and the neepers of wet and the gangers of sin in it. What was it he did at all on Animal Sunday? And how long was he under lock and knee? It was put in the news is what he did. Nices and priors, the king fierciest Humphrey, with Elisis distilling exploits and all. But Tom's will till, I know he will. Temp untamed will hist for no man, and you spring, so shall you neep. Oh, the rotty old rap, mixing marriage and making loof. Reeve Gooch was right, and Reeve Droged was sinistrous. And the cut of him, and the strut of him, how he used to hold his head as high as a howith, the famous Duke alien, with a hump of grandeur on him like a walking weasel rat. And his Derry's own drawl, and his Cork's own blather, and his Dublin stutter, and his Galloway swank. Ask Lictor Hackett, or Lector Reid, or Garda Growley, or the boy with the billy club. How else there is he a called at all? Capel, Hughes Caput, Early Falter. Or where was he born, or how was he found? Orgathlant, Fistown on the Cattegat, New Hunshire, Concord on the Merrimack. Who blocksmith her saft anvil, or yelled lep to her pail? Was her bands never loosened in Eve and Adam's, and Adam and Eve's, or were him and her but captain spliced? For mine either duck I thee drake, and by my wild gaze I thee gander. Flowey and mount on the brink of time makes wishes and fears for a happy isthmus. She can show all her lines with love, license to play, and if they don't remarry, that hook and I may. Oh, Passmore that, and Oxus another. Dan dum dum dum, and his wee Fallio. Was his helping short in the Stork and Pelican against Bungliers, Flew and third risk parties? I heard he dug good tin with his doll, Delvin first and Dublin after, when he raped her home Sabrina store in a parakeet's cage, by treacherous lands and devious delts, playing catched and mithed with the gleam of her shadow. If a flick had been there to pop up and pepper him. But Auld Min's Manse and Mason's Alfu, and the rest of incurables and the last of immurables, the quaggy wag for stumbling. Who sold you that jack-o'-lantern's tail? Pemmican's pasty pie, not a grass hoop to ring her, not an aunt's grain of ore. In a gabbard he barked it, the boat of life, from the harbourless Ivernican Ocean, till he spied the loom of his landfall, and he loosed 2 croakers from under his tilt, the grand Phoenician rover. By the smell of her kelp they made the pigeon house. Like fun they did. But where was himself the timoneer? The merchant man he screeved to scutters right over the wash, his cameldeers burners breezing up on him, till with his renegade boundpress he rode and burst her bar. Pilco Mayo, such hotoato, and when the whales away with the grayling. Tune your pipes and fall a-humming, you born Egypt, and you're nothing short of one. Well, Ptolemy soon and curb your Esquimaux, when they saw him shoot swift up her Sheba sheath, like any gay Lord Salomon, Her bulls they were roaring, surfed with spree. Boyana boy. He earned his little bun bath hard, our stally bread, the traitor. He did. Look at here in his wet on his prow. Don't you know he was a cow to bairn on the brine, washerborn the water baby, having Maria, so he was. HCE has a codfisk E. Sure, she's nearly as bad as him herself. Who? Anna Livia? Aye, Anna Livia. Do you know she was called back van dit sows from all around Yomba Nu, Chamba Chu, till go ill to him, her herring chief, and tickle the pontiff aisy oisy. She was. Got a pot. He saw that the limit. As El Negro winced when he wanced in la plate. Oh, tell me all I want to hear. How loft was she lift the laddery dextro? O Coney wink after the bunting fell. Letting on she didn't care. Seen a phase me absentee. Him man in possession, the proxenete. Proxenete, and what is that? Emmy for your reassuture, Hantu Charkin. Tell us in franca lingua, and call a spade a spade. Did they never share, you Ebro at skull, you anti-abecedarian? It's just the same as if I was to go par exemplum, now in conservancy's cause out of telekinesis, and proxenate you. For cock's sake, and is that what she is? But little I thought she'd act that, Lord. Didn't you spot her in her windog, wobbling up on an osier chair, with the music before her all cuneiform letters, pretending to ribble a reedy dirg on a fiddle she bogans with a band on? Without a band on? Sure she can't fiddle a dee, with bow or abandon. Sure she can't. 'Tis the suck. Well, I never now heard the like of that. Tell me more. Tell me more. Well, old Humber was a glom in his grampus, with the tears on his door in the buboes for ages, and neither bowman nor shat abroad. Bells outbrent on the crests of rockies, and near a lamp in the kitchen or church, and giant holes in Grafton's causeway, and death-cap mushrooms round Funglas grave, and the great tribune's barrow at Darnell's Occamur, sitting samber on his set, dramming and dromming, usking queasy quizzers of his woeful countenance, his cheered linen scarf to encourage his obsequies, where he'd check their depths in that Mormon's Thames, he questing and hand-settled, hop, step and deepened, with his bursts in their toiling moil, his swallower open from swath to fore, and the snipes of the gutter pecking his crocks, hunger striking all alone, and holding doomsdag over hunself, dreeing his weird with his dander up, and his fringe combed over his eggs, and roaming on loft to the sight of the sterns. After swarthy cows and weedy brooks, and the tits of buddy and the loits of pest, and to peer was parish worth it a mess. You'd think all was dodo belonging to him, how he dermed and drance in Doran's Val. He had been belching for 7 years, and there she was, Anna Livia. She daren't catch a winkle of sleep, purling around like the chit of a child, wanda, a finger thick, in a lap summer skirt and a damazon cheeks, for to isham banzor to her dear dubber Dan. With new fraties and salt from his Maggies, and an odd time she'd cook him up blooms of fisk, and lay to his heart's foot her meddery eggs, yais, and stain his beacons on tosk, and a cup and half of wishy-washy of Greenland's tea, or a drooks pan of cafu mako, and sable, or sikyang sokri, or his ale of ferns, and truart pewter, and a shinko bread ham jambo banna. For to please that man, hog stay his stomacher, till her Pyrenees shrunk to nutmeg graters, while her toggle joint shook the goint, and as rash as she'd russ, with her peak load of vivers up on her sieve. Me to wear o' rage, it swells and rises. My hardy heck he'd cast from home him, with a stour of scorn. as much as to say, you sow and you shows, and if he didn't peg a plateau on her taw, believe you me, she was safe enough. And then she'd ask to a vistula him. The heart bowed down, or the rakes of Mallow, or Chelly Michelle's La Colonia e un vermicelli, or in Balfi bit of O Joe Robertson. Such a fuffing as fifing 'twould cut you in two. She'd bait the hen that crowd on the terrace of Babel. What harm if she knew how to cockle her mouth, and not a mag out of home no more than out of the mangle weight? Is that the faith? That's the fact. Then riding the Ricka and Roya Romanche Anana, Gebror in a aristocrat Nivia, doctor of sense and art, the sparks pitted flickathims, funkling her fan, and her frost-ivying tresses dashed with vire of lies. While the prom beauties shrieked knit their bearers' skins, in a period gown of changeable jade that would robe the wood of two cardinals' chairs and crush poor Cullen and smother McCabe. Oh, blazer skate, there's pauper patches, and broming to him down the feed shoot, with her femty fix kinds of fondling endings, with poother rambling off her nose. Voogie Barney, Vicar Mandy, hello, ducky, please don't die. Do you know what she started cheeping after, with a choicey voicey like Water Glucks or Madame Delba to Romeo Rosic? You'll never guess. Tell me, Phoebe, dearest, tell me, and I loved you better nor you knew. And letting on hoon var daft about the warbly sangs from her Holman. High hell skirts all ladies, hen smoker, lily hung pigger. And so I, and so on, and so forth, and so forth in a tone sonora, and both are below like Berry in his sandy cloak, so umvolosi, as deaf as a yawn, the stolt. Go away, poor defo dearie, you're only teasing. Anna Liv, as chalk is my judge, and didn't she up in sorgs and go and trot doon and stand in her doiro, puffing her old Doreen, and every servant silly girl or winsome farmerette walking the Pyland roads. Sowie, Fundally, Dairy and Mary, Mulliker, Arnie or Graw, usen she make her a simp or sign to slip inside by the sully port. You don't say the silly post, be doix I do, calling them in one by one, to block bedum here the show in a caddy, and legging a jig or so on the sill to show them how to shake their benders, and the dainty how to bring to mind the gladdest garments out of sight in all the way of a maid with a man, and making a sort of cackling noise like 2 and a penny or half a crown, and holding up a silver shiner. Lordy, did she so? Well, of all the ones I ever heard, throwing all the nice little horrors in the world at him, to any captured wench you wish of no matter what sex of placeful ways, to at a time or a Lizzie a Lassie, to hung and hab and haven and Humpty's apron. And what was the wiry rhyme she made? Oh, dead. Tell me the trent of it while I'm lathering hail out of Dennis Florence McCarthy's combies. Rise it, flut ye, piana. I'm dying down off my idling feet until I learn Anna Livia's cushing loo, that was writ by one and read by two, and proved by a pool in the parco. I can see that, I see you are. How does it tumble? Listen now. Are you listening? Yes, indeed I am. Tarn your old house. Eson in. By earth in the cloudy, but I badly want a brand new bankside. Bedempted I do, and a plumper at that. For the putty affair I have is wore out. So it is, sitting, yaping, and waiting for my old Dane, harder dodderer, my life in death companion, my frugal key of our larder, my much-altered camel's hump, my joint spoiler, my May moon's honey, my food to the last Decemberer, to wake himself out of his winter's doze, and bore me down like he used to. Is there e'er, well, a lord of the manor, or a knight of the shire at strike, I wonder, that's dipped me a dace or two in cash for washing, and darning his worshipful socks for him, now we're run out of horse brose and milk? Only for my short Brita's bed, maid's as snug as it smells it's out, I'd leppen off with me to the slobs della Toca, or the plague o' Contarf, to feel the gay air of my salt Troblin Bay, and the race of this sigh went up me embouchure. Oh non, tell me more. Tell me every tiny tane. I want to know every single ingle, down to what made the potters fly into Jag's hoe, and why were the vestals vet that home of fevers winning me wome. If a man of the horse but hard me, we'd be bundy kiki boy, meet aska regal. Well, now comes the hazel hatchery part, after Clondalk in the King's Inns. We'll soon be there with the freshet. How many alevines had she in Toul? I can't rightly read you that. Close only knows. Some say she had 3 figures to fill, and confined herself to 111, one by one, making me and Cuminiam oius, Olaf Lemmet. Oh, that pack! We won't have room in the kirkyard. She can't remember half of the cradle names she smacked on them by the grace of her boxing bishop's infallible slipper, the Cain for the Cundin, Abels for Eolf, and Aether Nather for Yakov, yea. 100 and how? They did well to rechristen her Plurabelle. Oh, lordy, what a lot in loads, hi-ho! But it's quite on the cards she'll shed more and merrier, twills and trills, spare fours and spoil files, nor 6 and sud severs and eyes and 9s to a litter, grandfathering up nap and mess of misery, and the knave of all knaves and the joker. Hee-haw! She must have been a gadabout in her day, so she must, more than most. Sure she was, gid-gad. She had a few men of her own, then a toss ne'er scared that last so animo. That's a gapo. Tell me, how cam she camlin through all her fellows, the necker she was, the divaline, casting her perils before our swains from Fonty and Monty to Tidingtown, and from Tidingtown till Havet, linking one and knocking the next, tapping a flank and tipping a jutty, and parling in and pietering out, and gliding by on her east way. Woe, was the first there ever burst? Someone he was, woe braw they were, in a tactic attack or in single combat, tinker, tiler, soldier or sailor, pieman piece or polysta man. That's the thing I'm always on the edge to ask. Push up and push varder and come to the uphill headquarters. Was it Waterloo's year, after Grattan or flood, or when maids were in ark, or when 3 stood hosting? Fearers will find where the doubt arises, like Neiman from Nergans, found in Nighill. Worry your sighing foe, Alburn, answer. Untie the gammons fisty knots, quick and nuancy. She can't put her hand on him for the moment. Tes der an Langlo, walking weary, such a lone way bashwards to row. She said herself she hardly knows who in the annals her graveller was, a dynast of Leinster, a wolf of the sea, or what he did, or how blithe she played, or how, when, why, where, and who often he jumped at her, and how it was gave her away. She was just a young, thin, pale, soft, shy, slim slip of a thing then, sauntering by Silver Moon Lake. And he was a heavy, trudging, lurching lie abroad of a Curraman, making his hay for who's the sun to shine on, as tough as the oak trees, peats be with them, used to rustle that time down by the dykes of Killing Kildare, with forced fell foss, with a plash across her. She thought she'd sunk neath the ground with nymphant shame when he gave her the tigress eye. Oh, happy thought, me wish it was he. You're wrong there, horribly wrong. 'Tisn't only tonight you're anachronistic. It was ages behind that when nullas were nowhere, in County Wicklow, guardian of Erin. Before she ever dreamt she'd leave Kilbride and go foaming under Horsepass Bridge, with a great southwestern wind storming her traces in the Midlands grain waster asart for her track, to wend her ways by and by, Rebecca or worse, to spin and to grind, to swab and to thrash, for all her gold in Liffey in the barley fields and penny lots of Humphrey's ford of Hurdlestown, and lie with the landleaper, Wellington and Norse her, at least the Lagos of girly days, for the dove of the Dunas. Was it? I thought, are you certain, sure? Not where the Finn fits into the morn, not where the Nor takes leave of the blome, not where the braid divarts the farer, not where the Moy changes her minds twixt Cullen and Can, tween Cun and Callan, or where Neptune sculled and Tritonville rode, and Leandro's 3 bumped heroines 2. Nay, a nar of nen nonny nos, then whereabouts an ow and an ovoca? Was it east, or west, or Lokin Yokin, or where the hand of man was never set foot? Tell me where, the very first time. I will if you listen. You don't know the Dinkle Dale of Luggalaw? Well, there was once dwelt a local eremite. Michael Arklow was his reverend name. With many a sigh I aspersed his lavabibs, and one vendor's dirg in June or July. Oh, so sweet and so cool, and so limber she looked, Nance to Nixie, Nan and Lesco, in the silence of the sycamores, all listening, the kindling curves you simply can't stop feeling. He plunged both of his newly anointed hands, the cord of his cushlas, in her singy merry saffron strumens of hair, parting them and soothing her and mingling it, that was deep, dark and ample, like this red bog at sundown. By that veil thou closes lucid lack, the rainbow heaven arches around her. A froth dizzying albs, her enamoured eyes undergoading him on to the verge violation. Wish-a-wish, why, mavro. Letty lurks laughing of light, throw those laurels now on her daft tea song Patrick. Mass! But the magic wavis has elfin anon meshes, and Simba the slayer of his Olga is slewed. He could'll not help himself, there's so that hot on him, and he forgot to make the monk in the man so, rubbing her up and smoothing her down. He bathed his lips in smiling mood, kiss a kiss after kiss o kushk, as he warned her never to river, never, on Anna and pogs of the freckled forehead. While you'd parse Etressa, she hilt her soof, but she rose 2 feet higher in her ain estimation, and steps on stilts ever since. That was Kisso a healing with Bantor for balm. Oh, wasn't he the bold priest, and wasn't she the naughty Livy? Nautic namas now her navum. 2 lads in scooch breeches went through her before that, barefoot burn and wallow me wade, lug naquila's noblest picts, before she had a hint of a hair at her fanny to hide her, or a bosom to tempt a birch canoodler, not to mention a bulgic porterhouse barge. And ere that again, Leda, all unready, too faint to buoy a fairest rider, too frail to flirt with a cygnet's plume, she was licked by a hound, chirapa charuta, while pooing her pea, pure and simple, on the spur of a hill, in old Kippur, in bird song and shearing time. But first of all, worst of all, the wiggly lively, she side-slipped out by a gap in the Devil's Glen, while Sally her nurse was sound asleep in a sloot, and fee-fi, fell over a spillway before she found her stride, and lay and wriggled in all the stagnant blank pools of a rainy under a fallow cool, when she laughed in us three, with her limbs aloft, and a whole drove of maiden hawthorns blushing and looking askance upon her. Drop me the sound of the fine horn's name, Mature Matee, some bugger he was wistness, and drip me why in the Flanders was she frickled, and trickle me through, was she martha waved, or was it weirdly a wig she wore? And which side did they droop her glows in the flory, a back to wist or a front to see, in fear to hear the deer so near, or longing loth and loathing longing? Are you in the swim or are you out? Oh, go in, go on, go on. I mean about what you know. I know right well what you mean. Rather, you'd like the quoifs and gwimps, Snouty and me, to do the greasy job on old Veronica's wipers. What am I ranting now, and I'll thank you? Is it a penny or is it a surplus? Arran, where's your nose? And where's the starch? That's not what the Vestre benediction smell. I can tell from here by their eau de cologne, and the scent of her odour. They're Mrs. McGrath's. And you ought to have aired them. They've moist come off her, creases and silk they are, not Crampton lawn. Baptiste me, father, for she has sinned. Through her clutchment rings she freed them easy, with her hips hurrahs and her knees dentilleries. The only par with frills in all the plain, so they are, I declare. Well and well, if tomorrow keeps fine, who'll keep tripping to sightsee? Howl. Ask me next what I haven't got. The Belvederian exhibitioners, in their cruisery caps and oars club colours, what who they band, and what haw they buck. And here is her nubily letters too, Ellis on key and scarlet thread, linked for the world on a flush-coloured field, an annex after to show they're not Laura Cayones. Oh, may the Diablo twist your safety pin. Your child of Mammon can sell as Lilith. Now, who has been tearing the leg of her drawers on her? Which leg is it? The one with the bells on it. Rinse them out and aston along with you. Where did I stop? Never stop. Continue aeration. You're not there yet. I am still waiting. Go on, go on. Well, after it was put in the Mercy Cordial Mendicants Sitterdag Zinde Monade Wake Shrift, for once they sullied their white kid gloves, chewing cuds after their dinners of chicken and bacon, with their show us it here and their mind out of that, and their when you're quite finished with the reading material. Ever the snee that snored on his whoring hair had a scunner against him. Da sava savuto, score her chuff, esquire. Everywhere if you went, in every bong you ever dropped into, in a city or suburb, or in adult areas, the Rosenbottle, or Phoenix Tavern, or Powers Inn, or Jude's Hotel, or wherever you scoured the countryside, from Nanny Water to Vartryville, or from Porta Latine to the Luton Quarter, you found his Icum etched tip-side down, or the corner boys kamicking his guy and Morris the man, with the roll of a Royce in his Turgos the Terrible. Every European cheek house unskimmed suet and hort. Hammond now cheek me Adam this way make, Fatima half turn. Reading and railing round the local as the pee-holes piped and Eubanges twanged, with Oddfellow's triple tiara Busby run rotunda drinking round his scalp, like Pate by the Neva or Pete over mere. This is the houseman all paven and stoned, that cribbed the crabbin that never was owned, that cocked his leg, that henned his egg. And the mauldering rabble round him in a rare page, fracasing a great bing-kang cagnan with their timpan crowders. Mind your grim father, think of your ma. Hing the home is in his joves, hang them in. Lilta bolero, bulling a law. She swore on the crossed sticks 9 windabouts, she's be level with all the snags of them yet. Par the vulnerable virgins, Mary Del Dame. So she said to herself she'd frame a plan to shake a shine, the mischief maker, the like of you never heard. What a plan! Tell me quick, and don't go so cold. What the murther did she mag? Well, she burgened a zack bag, a shammy mail sack, with the lend of a loan of a light of his lampion, off one of her swap sons, shone the post. And then she went and consulted her chapbooks, old Mottmore, Casey's, Euclid, in the fashion display, and made herself title to join in the masquerade. Oh, giggle, goggle of giggles, I can't tell you how. It's too screaming to reason, old rabbit at all. Minna ha, minna hi, minna hey, minna ho. But you must really make my hear it gurgle, gurgle, like the fairest gargle, gargle in the dusky durgle, dargle. By the holy well of Mold-hearted, I swear I'll pledge my chance of getting to heaven through Thierry and Killy's mount of impiety, to hear it all, every word. Oh, leave me my faculties, woman, a while. If you don't like my story, get out of the punt. Well, have it your own way. Here, sit down and do as you're bid. Take my stroke and bend to your brow. Forward in, pull your over the place. Lip it slaney and crisp to it quiet. Deal me longsome. Tongue your time now. Breathe that deep. Towards the fairway. Hurry slow and shout you go. Lend us your blessed ashes here, till I scrub the cannon's underpants. Flow now, more, and hooly-pooly. First, she let her hair fall, and it flowed, it flussed, to her feet its tedious winding coils. Then, mother naked, she shampooed herself with gala water in fragrant pistania, mud whopper in lore, from crown to sole. Next she greased the groove of her keel, waths and wares and mole and itcher, with anti-fouling butterscotch and turpentide and serpentine, and with leaf mould she ushered round Prunella Isles and Eslats done, quince-conct, all over her little Mary. Peeled gold of waxwork her jelly belly, and her grains of incense anguille bronze. And after that she wove a garland for her hair. She pleated it, she plaited it, of meadow grass and river flags, the bulrush and waterweed, and the fallen griefs of weeping willow. Then she made her bracelets and her anklets and her armlets, and a jetty amulet for necklace of clicking cobbles and pattering pebbles, and rumble down rubble, Richmond and rare, of Irish runer rhiner stones and shell marble bangles. That done, a dock of smut to her airy eye, Anushka Lutishevich Puflova, and the lelypose cream to her lipolines, and the pick of her paint box to her pommettes, from strawberry reds to extra violets. And she sendered her boudoir maids to his affluence, Celiega Grande and Quercy Real, the two clear scenes, with respect from his missus, Sepie and Sewery, and a request might she pass him for a minikin, a call to pay, a light to taper, and brie on a rosa back in a sprisling. The cock striking mine, the stalls bridally sign, there's Zambozi waiting for me. She said she wouldn't be half her length away. Then, as soon as the lump his back was turned, with her mealy bag slang over her shoulder, Anna Livia, oyster face, forth of her bassin came. Describe her. Hustle along, why can't you? Spits on the air while it's hot. I wouldn't miss her for earthing on earth, not for the lucre of Lomba Strait. Oceans of God, I must hear that. I'll go away presta, leste, before Julia sees her, Isha carry and wash a miscad, the cara she cara to Macy. Oh, lady fair, duo desirum, Bonaventura, Malagasy. What had she on, the little loud oddity? How much did she scallop harness and ways? Here she is, Amnesty Anne, call her Calamity, electrifies man. No electress at all, but old Mappa Necessity, Angin mother of engines. I'll tell you a test, but you must sit still. Will you hold your peace and listen well to what I am going to say now? It might have been 10 or 20 to 1 of a night of all close or the next of April, when the flip of her hoogly igloo flappered, and out toed Tippet the bushman woman, the dearest little mamma ever you saw, nodding around her, all smiles, with M's of embarrass and O's of awe, between 2 ages, a Judy queen, not up to your elb. Quick, look at her cute and say's her quirk, for the bicker she lives, the slicker she grows. Save us and tag us. No more? Where in oath did you ever pick a lambay chop as big as a battering ram? Aye, you're right, I'm apt to forget. Like Livium little did love me long, the length of my huff, I say. She wore a ploughboy's nail-studded clogs, a pair of ploughfields in themselves, a sugarloaf hat and a gaudy quivery peak, and a band of gorse for an ornament, and 100 streamers dancing off it in a gilded pin to pierce it. Our glassy bicycles boggled her eyes, and the fish nets of the for the sun not to spoil the wrinklings of her hide aspects. Potaterings buckled the loose lobs of her loud snarers. Her nude Cuba stockings were salmon spot speckled. She sported a galago shimmy of haze vapour tinto that never was fast till it ran in the washing. Stout stays, the rivals, lined her length. Her blood-orange bach knickers, a 2-in-1 garment, showed natural knickerbockers, fancy fastened, free to undo. Her black striped tan Joseph was sequin and teddy bear lined, with wavy rush green epaulets and a lead down here and there of royal swan's ruff. A brace of gaspers stuck in her hay rope garters. Her civvy corduroy coat and alphabet buttons was boundaried round with a 2-bar tunnel belt. A 4-penny bit in each pocket side weighed her safe from the blow-away windrush. She had a clothes peg tight astride on her jokey's nose, and she kept on grinding a something quaint in her fumy mouth, and the reek of the flove of the tail of the gowan of her snuff-drab sewer skirt trailed 50-odd Irish miles behind her longer hoods. Hell's bells, I'm sorry I missed her. Sweet gumpty Tommen, nobody fainted, but in welk of her mouths. Was her nase alight? Everyone that saw her said the douse little Delia looked a bit queer. Lotsy trotsy, mind the paddle. Mrs. be good and don't fall in the say. Fenny poor heck she must have charred. Kickham's a frumpier ever you saw, making mush mullet's eyes at her boys dobelan. And they crowned her their charioton queen, all the maids. Of the May, you don't say. Well, for her she couldn't see herself. I reckon it war afore the darling murrayed her mirror. She did, mercy me. There was a chorus of drought-dropping surfacemen, boom-slanging and plug-chewing, fruit-dyeing and flower-feeding, in contemplation of the fluctuation of the undification of her filmentation, lolling and leasing on North lasers while all ill-fare weak by the Duker Yorks, and as soon as they saw her meander by that maritime way in her grass winter's weeds, and twigged who was under her archdeaconess bonnet, Avondale's fish and Clarence's poison sedges and to Annaber, wit upon crutches to Master Bates, between our 2 south sates, and the granite there warming on her face has been lifted, or Alp has doped. But what was the game in her mixed baggy ratty? Just the tempo in her tumbo, or pilly-pilly from her pepper pot? Sass and tass and specis pisass. And where in thunder did she plunder? For the battle or efter the ball? I want to get it frisked from the source. I all bet my beer it's worthwhile poaching on. Shake it up, do, that's a good old son of a ditch. I promise I'll make it worth your while, and I don't mean maybe, nor yet with the good for. Spare me proof, and I'll tell you true. Well, a rung around in a waveny line, a ring aroma, she pattered and swung and sighted, dribbling her border through narrow mosses, the dillisky drear on our drier side, and the wild vetch vine agin us. Crary here, careero there, not knowing which medway or wacer to strike it. Aider rider, making Chattahoochee alter her ain chichew, like Santa Claus at the cree of the pale and puny, nistling to hear for their tiny hearties, her arms encircling Isola Bella, then running with reconciled Romus and Rames, on like a lech to be off like a dart, then bathing dirty hands spatters with spittle, with a Christmas box apiece for ash and ivory of her childer, the birthday gifts they dreamt they gave her, the spoils she fleetly laid at our door. On the mat, by the porch, and in under the cellar, the rivulets ran a flood to sea, the Glacia boys, the Polynutes, out of the pawn shop onto the pyre, and they all about her juvenile leads and ingenuiness, from her the slime of her slums and artisan dwellings, rickets and riots, like the smiley boys at their viceroy's levee. Vivi Vienne, little Anchen, Vielo Anna, high life, sing us a sola, oh susuria, oh son so duchess, hasn't she timbre? Chipping her and raising a bit of a chur, or a jarry, every dive she'd nib in her culdy sacco of wabish she robbed and reach out her mondi merchandise, poor souvenir as per recorder, and offer sore a ring-a-rung, stinkers and healers, laggards and prime lads, her furs-born sons and dribbled-airy daughters, 1,001 of them, a wicker pottle lock for each of them, for each and evil and aver, and kicks the book, a tinker's ban and barrow to boil his billy for Gypsy Lee, a cartridge of cockaleeky soup for Chummy the guardsman, for Sulky Pender's acid nephew deltoid drops, curiously strong, a cough and a rattle and wild rose cheeks for poor Piccolina Petite McFarlane, a jigsaw puzzle of needles and pins and blankets and shins between them for Isabel, Jezebel, and Llewellyn marriage, a brazen nose and pig iron mittens for Johnny Walker Begg, a paper flag of the Saints and Stripes for Kiveneen O'Day, a puff for Pudge Craig, and a night marching hare for Tetcher Tim Tom Big Bye. Water leg and gumboots eats for Bully Hayes and Hurricane Hartigan, a prodigal heart and fatted calves for Buck Jones, the pride of Clonliffe, a loaf of bread and a father's early aim for Val from Skibbereen, a jaunting car for Larry Doolin, the Ballyclee Jackeen, a C6 trip on a government ship for Tag O'Flanagan, a louse in a trap for Jerry Coyle, Slushman's pies for Andy Mackenzie, a hair clip and clackdish for Penciless Peter, that 12 sounds look for G.V. Brooke, a drowned doll to face downwards for modest sister Anne Mortimer, Otter Falls for Blanche Ice's bed, Wildar's breechettes for Magpeg Wappington, to Sue Dot, a big eye, to Sam Dash, a false step, Snakes and Clover, picked and scotched, and Vatican Viper Catcher's Visa for Patsy Presbys, a rise every morning for Standfast Dick, and a drop every minute for Stumblestone Davy, Scrub Oak Beads for Beatified Biddy, 2 apple tweed stools for Eva Mobley, for Sarah Philpott, a Jordan Val Tyrorn, a pretty box of Pettifib's Power for Eileen Aruna to whiten her teeth and outflash Helen Arhone, a whipping top for Eddie Lawless, for Kitty Coleraine of Butterman's Lane, a penny wise for her foolish pitcher, a putty shovel for Terry the Pecan, an Opotamus masks for Promoter Dunn, an Easter egg with a twice-dated shell, and a dynamite right for Pavel the curate. A cholera morbus for Man in the Cloak, a starred and Girton for Draper and Dean, for Will-o'-the-Wisp and Barney the Bark, 2 mangoes noble to Swede in their bitters, For Oliver bound away in his fray. For Seamus thought little, a crown he feels big. A Tibertine's pile with a Congo's wood cross on the back for sonny twin Jim. A praises be and spare me days for Brian the Bravo. Plenty of pity with looby lashings of lust for Alone Alina Magdalena. For Camilla, Dromilla, Ludmilla, Mamilla, a bucket, a packet, a book, and a pillow. For Nancy Shannon, a tuami brooch. For Dory Repari, a hope in water, a cooling douche, and a warming pan. A pair of Blarney Braggs for Wally Meagher. A hairpin slate pencil for Elsie Oram to scratch her toe by, doing her best with her vulgar fractions. An old age pension for Betty Bellezza. A bag of the blues for funny fits. A missa promessa for Taff de Taff. Jill, the spoon of a girl, for Jack, the broth of a boy. A Rogerson Crusoe's Friday fast for Caducus Angelus Rubiconstein. 366 Poplantine for Reverie Warp in the Weaver's Woof for Victor Huguenot. A stiff-steaded rake and good Varian's muck for Kate the Cleaner. A hole in the ballad for Hosty. 2 dozen of cradles for JFXP Copinger. 10 pounting on the pop for the Dolphins born with 5 spoiled squibs for Infanta. A letter to last a lifetime for Maggie, beyond by the ash pit. The heftiest frozen meat woman from Losk to Livenbad for Phelim the Ferry. Spas and Speranza and symposium syrup for decayed and blind and gouty golf. A change of knaves and joys of ills for Amoricus Tristram Amor St. Lawrence. A guillotine shirt for Reuben Redbreast and hempen suspendets for Brennan on the moor. An Oakenny for Candidator Sawyer and Musquadaboids for great tropical Scott. A C3 peduncle for Carmelite Cane. A sunless map of the month, including the sword and stamps for Seamus O'Shawn the post. A jackal with hide for Brown but Nolan. A stone-cold shoulder for Don Joe Vance. All lock and no stable for Honor Bright Merry Tricks. A big drum for Billy Dunboyne. A guilty goldeny bellows below me, blow me for Ida, and a hushabye rocker, El Trouvetut for Who is Sylvier? Where is he? Whatever you like to swilly to swash, Yennis or Yennisy, Lagan or Niger, for Festus King, and Roaring Peter, and Frisky Shorty, and Treacle Tom, and Obie Bean, and Sully the Thug, and Master McGrath, and Peter Clorin, and O Delaware Rossa, and Nero and McPassam, and whoever you chance to meet knocking around, and a pig's bladder balloon for Selina Susquehanna Stakaloom. And what did she give to Pruda Ward and Katie Cannell and Peggy Quilty and Bridie Brosna and Teasy Kiernan and Ina Lappin and Muriel Massey and Zeus and Kamek and Melissa Bradog and Flora Ferns and Fauna Fox Goodman and Gretna Greeny and Penelope Inglesant and Lesba licking like Latha Leanne and Roxa Rohan and Simpatica Sohan and Ona Bina La Terza and Trina La Mesme and Philomena O'Farrell and Irmak Ellie and Josephine Foyle and Snake's Head Lily and Fountainoy Lara and Marie Xavier Agnes Daisy Francis de Sales Maclay. She gave them Ilka Madre's daughter, a moonflower and a blood vein. But the grapes that ripe before reason to them that divide the vine dress. So on Izzy, her shame maid, love shone befond her tears, as from Shem, her penmite, life past befouled his prime. My colonial, ward a bagful, a baccarines dozen with tithe tillies to boot. But what may you call a tale of a tub? In Hibernonian market, all that and more under one crinoline envelope if you dare to break the pork barrel seal. No wonder they'd run from her prison plague. Throw us your Hudson soap for the honour of Clane. The wee taste the water left. I'll raft it back first thing in the morn. Merced mulled, Aye, and don't forget the rackets I low-hand you. You've all the swirls on your side of the current. Well, am I to blame for that if I have? Who said you're to blame for that if you had? You're a bit on the sharp side. I'm on the wide. Only Snuffer's cornet drifts my way that the crack of divine chucks out of his cassock with their Esther years marsh Narcissus to make him recant his Vanity Fair. Foul strips of his Chinook's Bible I do be reading, dod well disgusted but chickled with chuckles out the titles is drawn on the tattle page. San rogadito faciassi homo, homo fu fo ho ho. Segno de dito faciassi hedamo sega facesa ha ha. And Dai Windermere Dictor and Lefanu Sheridans. Old house by the coachyard in Milje, on woman with ditto on the floss. Ja, a swamp for Hout Mueller and a stone for his flossies. I know how racy they move his wheel. My hands are brockled between Isker and Suda like that piece of patterned chain there, lying below. Or where is it? Lying beside the sedge I saw it. Hoing ho, my sorrow, I've lost it. Ay me he. With that turbary water, who could see? No nearing, yet so far. But, oh, gahan, I love it at Gabber. I could listen more and more of her again, ragging on the river, flies through your float, thick as the life for mare. Well, you know or don't, you ken it or haven't, I told you. Every telling has a telling, and that's the he and the she of it. Look, look, the dusk is growing. My branches lofty are taking root. In my cold chair's gone Ashley. Filur, filoo, what age is that? Its sown is late. 'Tis endless now sen I or Erewhon last saw Waterhouse's cloak. They took it asunder, I heard them sigh. When will they resemble it? Oh, my back, my back, my back. I'd want to go to Aix-les-Bains. Ping pong. There's the bell for Sexualitis and Concepta Descendus, pray. Pang. Ring out the close, ring in the dew. God of Ardy, vert the showers, and grant thy grace. Amen. We will spread them here now. Aye, we will. Flip. Spread on your bank and I'll spread on mine. Flip. It's what I'm doing. Spread. It's churning, churning, Jill. Their wind is rising. I'll lay a few stones on the hostel sheets, a man and his bride embraced between them. Else I'd have sprinkled and folded them only. And I'll tie my butcher's apron here. It's sweaty yet. The strollers will pass it by. 6 shifts, 10 kerchiefs, 9 to hold to the fire, and this for the code. The convent napkins 12, 1 baby's shawl. Good Mother Joseph knows, she said. Whose head? Mother snores? Deotacius, where now are all her children? Say, in kingdom gone, or power to come, or gloria be to them farther. Anna Livia, alleluvial, some here, more no more. More again lost all a stranger. I've heard tell that some brooch of the Shannons was married into a family in Spain. And all the dunders they duns in Markland's Vineland beyond Brendan's herring pool takes number 9 in Yangtze's hats. And one of Biddy's beads went bobbing till she rounded up lost Histerveer with a marigold and a cobbler's candle in a side strain of a main drain of a man's in a hurries off Bachelor's Walk. But all that's left to the last of the meagres and the lope of the years prefixed, and between is 1 knee buckle and 2 hooks in the front. Do you tell me that now? I do in troth. Aurora po orbe and poor las animas. Ussa ola, we're umbus all. Measure, didn't you hear the deluge of times? Oofer in oofer, respond to spond. You did. I need. It's that Irrawaddying I've stoke in my airs. It all but hushes the leathest swound. Orinoco, what's your trouble? Is that the great Finn leader himself in his Joe kimono? on his statue riding his high horse there, forgen hissed. Father of otters, it is himself. Yon there, is it that? On Fallerine Common. You're thinking of Astley's amphitheatre where the bobby restrained you, making sugar-stuck pouts to that ghost-white horse of the peppers. Throw your cobwebs from your eyes, woman, and spread your washing popper. It's well I know your sort of flap. Ireland sober is Ireland stiff. Lord help you, Maria, full of grease. The load is with me. Your prayers I sont zo. Madam Mangut, were you lifting your elbow? Tell us, glazy cheeks in Conway's Catacura canteen. Was I what, hobbledy hips? Flop. Your rare gates creak or a human bits, your butts disagrees. Haven't I up since the damp dawn, mat hard, mardy, alacook, with cardigans, pulse, and varicose veins, my pram axle smashed, Alice Jane in decline, and my one-eyed mongrel twice run over, soaking in bleaching boiler rags, and sweating cold, a widow like me, for to deck my tennis champion son, the laundryman, with the lavender flannels. You won your Limpopo limp from the husky hussars when collars and cuffs was heir to the town, and your slur gave the stink to Carlo. Holy Scamander, I saw it again, near the Golden Falls. This is honest. Saints of lights is here. Subdue your noise, you humble creature. What is it but a blackberry growth, or the Dwyer grey ass them four old codgers owns? Or do you mean in Tarpey and Lyons and Gregory? I may now thank all the four of them, and the roar of them, that raves that stray in the mist, and old Johnny McDougall along them. Is that the Pobeg flasher beyond, far, far, or a fireboat coasting near the Kishna, or a glow I behold within a hedge, or my Gary come back from the Indies? Wait till the honeying of the loon, love. Die, Eve, little Eve, die. We see that wonder in your eye. We'll meet again, we'll part once more. The spot I'll seek, if the hour you'll find. My chart shines high where the blue milk's upset. Forgive me quick, I'm going. Bye-bye. And you, pluck your watch, forget-me-not. You're even, Lord, so saved to Jonah's end. My sights are swimming thicker on me by the shadows to this place. I sow home slowly now, by my own way, Moy Valley way. Too I too, Rathmine. Ah, but she was the queer old scousha anyhow, Anna Livia, trinket toes. And sure he was the queer old bunce too, dear dirty dumpling, foolster father of Fingalls and daughter gills. Gammer and Gaffer, we are all their gangsters. Hadn't he 7 dams to wive him? And every dam had her 7 crutches, and every crutch had its 7 hues, and each hue had a differing cry. Suds for me, and supper for you, and the doctor's bill for Jojan. Before, by fur, he married his markets cheap by foul. I know, like any Etrurian Catholic heathen, in their pinky, lemony, creamy bairnies, and their Turkish Indian mauves. But at Milkenmass, who was the spouse, then all that was fair. 'Tis elven land, teams of times and happy returns. The same anew, or de Vico or Vira Cordo. Anna was, Livia is, Plurabelle's to be. Northmen's thing made South folks' place, but how multi-plurators made each own in person. Latin me that, my Trinity scholar, out of your Sanskrit into our errand. Hercus Civis Ablanensis, he had a buck-goat paps on him, soft one for orphans. Oh, Lord, twins of his bosom, Lord save us, and ho, hey, what all men, huh? His tittering daughters of, what? Can't hear but the waters of, the chittering waters of, flittering bats, field mice, balk, talk, ho? Are you not gone home? What? Tom Malone? Can't hear with the balk of bats, all them liffeying waters of. Oh, talk save us, my foos won't moose. I feel as old as yonder elm. A tale told of Sean or Shem, all Livia's daughter sons. Dark hawks hear us, night, night, my whole head hauls. I feel as heavy as yonder stone. Tell me of John or Sean? Who were Shem and Sean, the living and sons of daughters all? Night now, tell me, tell me, tell me, elm. Night, night, tell me tale of stem or stone, beside the rivering waters of hithering, thithering waters of night.